I didn't even know this was happening. I didn't know anything about this bill. I didn't know this suggestion, but it came out of nowhere last night. And I got to be honest, I am kind of on board with what's being thrown down here. As last night, the U.S. House passed legislation to criminalize transgender surgeries, hormones, and treatments for minors.
Hell yeah.
Let's fucking go. Something that should have just been obvious to everyone is now being codified.
As you can see, it passed 216 to 211.
That sounds about right.
Not have been that
close. Yeah, the fact that it's that close is insane to me.
Well, I mean, it was always going to be a party line vote. I mean, that's just the way it was. There was always going to be one or two on the other side, but party line.
Yeah, well, apparently there were like 4 Republicans that voted against it.
Yep. You
Vote
can
them out. Get them out of here.
Right here, Mike Lawler, Brian is from New York, Pennsylvania, Utah of all things, and Colorado. So
there's some weird stuff coming out of Utah lately.
Right. It does seem with Utah's being a little silly. Very,
very shaved side of the head, blue haired in Utah. It's surprising. It's really surprising.
That is surprising.
Yeah. Well, it's the way Utah is divvied up. Even though it's a red state, they have really distinctly blue areas. And so you end up with representation from Utah that is just crazy hard to the left. And it's almost like they have an emotional reaction to the fact that they're run essentially by Republicans and Mormons by going more to the left than almost even California goes. It's weird.
That kind of sounds similar to New Hampshire, where like a lot of the delegates are Republican, but then when they get like the state representatives to go elsewhere, those are typically Democratic.
Kind of, yeah.
So I think it's important to kind of let you know what's actually in this bill and why it was passed. This actually comes from the Congressional Equality Caucus, which is achievement. It says achieving. They're committed to achieving the full enjoyment of human rights and LGBTQI plus for people in the U.S. and around the world. This is an official government entity here. So I think it's important to hear what they say is in the bill here. It says the so-called Protect Children's Innocent Act, which, by the way, I do feel, yes, I do feel that the branding on this in particular is on point. We see branding fail so often when it comes to this stuff, but the Protect Children's Innocent Act is a bill from Republican anti-trans extremist Marjorie Taylor Greene.
While extremist if you don't want to mutilate kids, hot take.
Apparently.
Right. It says, while millions of Americans are about to lose their health care because of the Republican health care crisis, all capitalized, House Republicans want to throw doctors in prison and rip care away from a vulnerable minority. Here's what the bill would do. Now, as we go through here, I would love to hear your thoughts on if you are on board with this bill. They say, the bill would criminalize providing transgender-related health care to any trans person under 18. If the bill were to become law, any medical professional who provides certain medical care like puberty-delaying medications or hormone therapy to a young trans person could be fined or face up to 10 years in prison.
Yes. That's a good number.
That is a good number.
In some cases, even parents could be imprisoned. Right here.
I feel like 10 years is not enough if you are hormonally sterilizing a child. But
10 years is enough to dissuade someone. If like you come at it and you say maybe you'll get a year in prison, they'll be like, well, I'll get out 3 months on good behavior with some probation. 3 months is no big deal, but 10 years
actually makes you think about it.
Yeah, you're gonna like wait a minute. Okay, and it's 10 years per instance. Right. So it stacks, right? And they don't run, they're non-concurrent and they stack. So in theory, if you're responsible for 10 of them, that's 100-year sentence.
That is great.
Well, this has a lot of people up in our arms, by the way. And by the way, this is coming from like I think we're all on the same page here. This idea of, hey, how about you just let kids be kids and let them grow out of it? Because that's what happens like most of the time. There's all this statistics that say if you just go through puberty, you kind of get through it, or you either get through the whole just gender dysphoria thing, or you just are gay. And it's like, okay, then okay. But
the hormonal replacement thing has always confused me because doctors are not, from my understanding, are not allowed to harm their patients. And I don't understand at any age, how giving someone the opposite hormones is a benefit. Like, I'm trying to understand how that.
So the logic is, if you don't give them the hormones, they'll be so depressed that they'll kill themselves.
But that's not up to the doctor.
No. But that's the logic they use.
No,
and
I know,
all the
but
documentation.
It's flawed, though.
It is flawed and it's stupid, but that's part of why we need this law.
Like, that's not up to a doctor to be that would be a mental health care professional, not the doctors themselves.
I have an interesting question because I don't know where the streamer guy lives. There's a streamer and I forget his name, but he basically got incentivized by his chat throwing money at him to go down the trans pipeline. Finster, that's his name. And he set up a charity thing recently that's going to help transgender kids get hormones. I don't know if that's in the US or the UK, but if that's in the US, I feel like this new legislature kind of puts an entire stop to that, right?
Sounds like it.
One would hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuing on with this, it says if the bill passed, talk about the 10 years, it says the same medical care would remain available to young, and there's the slur here, cisgender patients. I can't stand that term. It's such a gross term. They said politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene shouldn't get to decide what kind of health care you or your child can access, especially when every major U.S. medical association supports trans people's access to health care. If this bill were to become law, that's exactly what would happen, and parents could face jail time for simply doing what was medically best for the kid. There's the gaslighting there.
Should face jail time for child abuse. This is abnormal.
Come on.
I actually do agree with this. Politicians should not have to decide on this stuff. Here's the problem, is that things have gotten so Looney Tunes that you have to make you have to codify this, that this is abuse. So you're right. Politicians shouldn't have to do this, but you're so insane that you've made this happen. It's on you, you dummies.
You dummies.
You idiot.
But what a bunch of dummy goobers.
That's right.
I love the word gooba.
Well, people have not been happy about this at all, including several media outlets. Let's go to the bustling pop culture media outlet Pop Flop.
What the fart is a pop flop?
I don't know. It's a Twitter handle. It says the House of Representatives has unfortunately passed the Protect Children's Innocent Act.
What a sentence!
Golly, I love that some intern wrote that. It was like, oh, they unfortunately passed the Protect Children's Innocence Act.
Oh,
they're finally getting it.
Since this isn't a communist bill, it's not even a subversive language that you can poke fun of. It just is what it is.
Right. What were we saying,
they're finally getting it because they're finally understanding how to play this game. Even though this one actually makes sense, but it's the same as BLM. It's it's hard to. It was always hard to fight against Black Lives Matter because if you said that, then you're like, what? You're against black people? You're like, no, that's not what we're saying. So they're starting to learn that language matters. How you use it can be extremely effective.
Yeah.
Well, yes, it comes down to branding, and that's one thing that I feel the branding is so paramount on this, and I think the branding on this is actually really, really great because when you see an outlet saying, "Well, they unfortunately passed the Protect Children's Innocence Act," people are like,
And people are like, hold on, wait a minute, run that back again.
Right. So we have this retweeted here from Wooith over here, who is the one woke girl who has hot takes. So let's just keep that in mind about her.
Oh, that
okay.
Reply guys, all of us actually, alongside the other people during harassment campaigns and stuff.
Oh, you know this person?
I recognize their name from yelling into the void to try and become like Nyara and Bint.
Okay. Well, that's definitely what they're doing here. To where they said trans people already have the same rights as everyone else. Meanwhile, U.S. government, to which Asmongold, came in, says you don't have the right to groom children and mutilate their bodies. This isn't a right that straight people have either. The fact that the vote was as close as is sick. And
I agree. He's been on a rampage recently.
He has. He has absolutely been on a rampage, to which this person tried to, and I think this is like a really great example of this being. This is not a 215 to 211 thing, right? In real life, you can get 426 people, however many people there are that are voting on this. You can get that people, and it is not that close of a vote at all, right? This is a 90-10 issue, maybe, where you walk around to people and you're like, hey, should you be cutting off children's breasts? People are like, what? Like, nobody is into this idea.
But when you change cutting off children's breasts to gender affirming care, suddenly everyone's like, well, I don't want to lose my job, so yeah, I'm all for it.
Right. And it goes back to the branding, gender affirming care, right? Yep. You add care associated with it, and it's like, oh, okay, there you go, right?
Oh yes, very important.
To where this person who is a Looney Tune says, fine dispute, right to groom children. I don't know. Christians exist and groom children to dispute reality constantly. Mutilate children, puberty blockers, really? The same thing cisgender children have. And once again, just totally ratioed over here. You can't argue.
Think of that the millennial woes tweet, right? The like leftist discourse is just pretending to not understanding things, just making discourse impossible.
It's like, ridiculous.
You know that when regular kids are given a hormone replacement therapy, not as a transgender thing, it's because there's something actually wrong with them that needs to be fixed through giving them the correct hormones.
Truly disturbed individuals. And I love when they try and defend it, they go on the offense against anyone who happens to have a religion or a faith. Like they're trying to equate church with chopping off genitals and putting puberty blockers in people. Like, how are those possibly comparable? How, like, it's not just apples and oranges. That's like comparing Toyotas and the universe. It's like it doesn't make any sense.
We talk about how, there are only two biological sexes, and they're just like, well, intersex exists. It's like, okay, a statistical anomaly with a medical defect. Unfortunately, right? Like, you don't want those people to have that thing, but it's
weird.
Astronomical improbability into consideration,
right? Like, have you heard about hermaphrodites? Like, yeah, it's weird. It's not supposed to happen. It's a fluke. Yeah,
it's the same with like, what is a woman? And you talk about them having like a womb. You're like, oh, what if you got a hysterectomy? Is that not a woman anymore? It's like, shut the fuck up. Holy shit.
Well, there's more. And Kirsha, thank you for this link right here. This is great. I didn't see this. Breaking: RFK Jr. announced he signed a directive banning transgender surgeries for minors nationwide. Let's see what he has to say here. I have not seen this.
Doctors assume a solemn obligation to protect children. Yet doctors across the country now provide needless and irreversible sex-rejecting procedures that violate their sacred Hippocratic oath by endangering the very lives that they are sworn to safeguard. The American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, peddled the lie that chemical and surgical sex-rejecting procedures could be good for children who suffer from gender dysphoria. They betrayed the estimated 300,000 American youth ages 13 to 17, conditioned to believe that sex can be changed. They betrayed their Hippocratic oath to do no harm. So-called gender-affirming care has inflicted lasting physical and psychological damage on vulnerable young people. This is not medicine, it is malpractice. Yeah. We're done with junk science driven by ideological pursuits, not the well-being of children. A peer-reviewed report published by the HHS Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health last month confirms that sex-rejecting procedures impose medical dangers and lasting harm on children who receive these interventions. So today we are taking 6 decisive actions, guided by gold standard science and the week 1 executive order from President Trump to protect children from chemical and surgical mutilation. This morning, I signed a declaration. Sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria.
Awesome. Yeah, clap for that. Yeah. I voted for this.
That's pretty crazy to see. So we have like the dual pronged thing happening where it's in Congress for voting to get rid of this, and then he's also signing something.
Yeah, it's the strategy, and I guarantee you, there's going to be another executive order coming out from Trump around this. Like, they hit it from every point, so that way, when the Democrats want to bring this to court, they're going to have to try and fight this in the House, fight this in the Senate, fight this at the HHS, and fight this at the executive level, and they're going to have to fight it every single place. And if they fail in any one of those, it's too bad. It's already the law of the land.
Yeah, that's a great thing to see.
Well, this is amazing. And while he was speaking, I just go back to, look, we all understand this is 100% a social contagion, right? We've seen this since social media has become a thing. This is the equivalent of the goths that we knew in high school that except instead of putting on black eyeliner, now they're, chopping off their wee-wees, right? Which I think this graph really shows you everything you need to know about this. This is the courtesy of Grok here. The rise of youth gender clinic referrals. This is back in 2009, 2010. There was 100 in 2000. This is in 2022, 5,000, which means I asked what was the percentage increase? 4,900%. I don't know.
I don't gaslight you into believing that increase isn't abnormal. It's just because they feel more comfortable coming out now.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's definitely what's happening. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about Lunduk. You're talking about the possibility of this actually happening, and that was a question of like, okay, what is the likelihood of this actually becoming a law? To become a law, it now must go through the Senate.
Right.
Which by simple majority, if no filibuster, but 60 votes are typically required to overcome a filibuster, and then be signed by President Trump, who would almost certainly sign it given his campaign promises, right? However, the likelihood of enactment is low for these reasons. Senate dynamics, this is courtesy of Grok, saying Republicans hold a narrow majority, approximately 53 seats, but the bill is highly partisan. So Democrats are likely to filibuster, and Republicans lack the 60 votes needed to make it happen.
That's going to be the big sticking point, is the filibuster. Yeah.
Can we just take a moment to think about how absurd it is that not mutilating children is a partisan issue?
Yes.
Yeah, it's super absurd, but it's the world we live in. I mean, this hasn't made sense for a long time. It's just nonsense.
I agree. But when you actually sit and think about it for a second, the insanity is just, how have we gone on for so long in this manner? This is crazy.
It's nuts.
I don't think anybody. Go ahead, Phoenix.
I was going to say, to me, this is always just stressing my point that I've been saying for decades: the importance of culture. That look at what culture can do. It will actually, you will voluntarily chop your dick off in record numbers, and you'll have the entire world having to try to fight against it. That's the importance of culture. That, look at it right now, we're on the losing side, and so you have record number of people trying to become a different gender or whatever. That's because we lost sight of it. We lost control of it, and it's spiraling out of control now. And I think, if anything, it just should show you how important it is to reclaim that culture, because you wouldn't have this problem. We had some control over that.
I agree with you guys 100%. And the idea that why did this take this long? Why did it take this long for somebody to be like, we should really put this in a bill, put this in at least vote on this?
Well, because anyone who spoke out against this craziness, they were defamed, they were depersoned, they lost their jobs, they lost credentials. Nobody wanted to stand up and say anything. And it makes me feel like a lot of the Republican representatives we have are, just rhinos, right? They say the things their constituents want to hear, but then they do nothing about it. And I can get behind, oh, you're making funny memes and you're making posts that I agree with on social media, and that's great. That shows you're in tune with at least what the culture is like. But as a regular layperson, all I can really do is tweet and inform people about what's happening. You, as an elected representative, can actually fucking do something about it. So instead of just tweeting, please do something.
Right.
Yeah, I think, yeah. Most people are still afraid to speak out. As weird as that sounds, most people are still like I was talking to a guy who will remain nameless for the moment, but he's a kind of a popular YouTuber, and he has over the last several years stayed very quiet about political things, even though he is a very conservative, very Christian, very religious guy. And he has been kind of attacked by a lot of people on the extreme left, and he's terrified about stoking that flames. He's terrified to make even the slightest comment, like saying, "Oh, trans seems a little weird," or anything like that, even just slightly political, because he's afraid they're going to come after him. He's afraid he's going to get demonetized on YouTube. He's afraid they're going to attack him constantly. He's afraid that they're going to attack his house, because so many of us get death threats every single week. He's afraid that that's going to happen to him and his family, so he stays quiet, and he's the majority. That's the majority of people out there.
Pussies.
Is they're afraid. No, they're being realistic about protecting their kids. Like,
I understand where he's coming from, because
where does this go if you keep doing that?
And I'm pretty fucking milquetoast as far as things go, right? I said some things about trans activists. I make a delineation between people who have a mental illness and people who are using it for like ideology or fetish reasons. And I make edgy jokes, right? Like I say edgy things on occasion. And this was enough to have a group of retards online harass my sponsors to the point where I lost one of them. Thankfully, the ones that mattered stood behind me. But like, they harassed my sponsors. There were cabals of like other content creators trying to struggle session my sponsors and other people who were friends with me to get rid of me, to ditch me because I'd be bad for just any kind of involvement. There were people who were like, "Oh, I can't shill my products for my sponsor because they're associated with this animated fox woman." And it's like, what? I have nothing to do with you or your products. Like, we're completely siloed off from one another, man. Like, just keep doing your thing. This is weird. I got death threats. I left my apartment. Like, it's crazy. And it's something nuts. Just as milquetoast as me. Like, I understand him being scared, but if everybody capitulates to that fear instead of speaking out, that's what gives these people power. So even after everything I've went through this year, even after everything I've had to deal with, everything I'm still dealing with because the lies about me get repeated in perpetuity, they keep getting crazier and crazier, I would do it all over again because I'm not going to be silenced by people using fear to shut me up.
Two quick points. The first is that a cartoon fox woman dressed like a prostitute while swearing like a sailor just described herself as milquetoast, which I thought was maybe the best thing I've seen all week. The second is the cartoon fox prostitute is absolutely correct about this.
Stop calling her a prostitute, please. Thank you.
She's totally right, and I think people like Kershaw, people like me, and a lot of others speaking out about this act as the poop shield, right? Until people see a large enough number of people like Side Scrollers, Podcasts, and Kershaw, and more recently like DHH and some other tech personalities coming out and saying, "This is nuts. I'm going to go ahead and just speak the obviousness, and I'm going to get attacked for it. And I'm going to get poo flung at the angry monkeys at me because of it." Until people see that, they're going to be afraid to speak out themselves because they're afraid that they're going to be the targets. But if we stand up and we are the targets and we are the loudest, most visible, just siren on top of our head targets, we act as a shield for all the normal people who don't have the hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever, where they can just stand up and say, "Yeah, you know what, this is a bit crazy," and they can feel a little bit more comfortable doing it without the fear of losing their job or having their kids harassed at school or having their house attacked. And that's kind of the important thing. I mean, I think, like, for me, I never even covered this stuff. I covered like retro computing and enterprise technology.
I wasn't a politics person, you know?
Same. I didn't touch it at all. And the only reason that Craig gets it, we didn't touch this stuff. The only reason I started doing it is because I let slip a few times that I was a little bit right of center, right? Like it filtered in and people picked up on that. So I started getting emails from people like, hey, I'm an executive over at Microsoft and I just want to say thanks for having a right-leaning voice out there, but I don't feel comfortable speaking up. Or people would just say, hey, you know what? I agree. They're nuts out there. The BLM protesters and everyone else, they're nuts, but I can't speak up. I'm afraid to. And so that kind of convinced me like, well, someone has to, right? Someone has to be the poop shield. And it falls on people wearing baseball hats and cartoon prostitutes with fox ears.
Yeah, I mean, like, my political inclinations were always probably kind of known, because even when I was playing MMOs, like waiting for dungeons or getting groups together, I would read articles and like just occasionally talk about things, but it wasn't like an overwhelming part of my content until it was like, all right, now they're trying to ruin like the last bastion of entertainment that I cared about. So I'm kind of tired, man. I'm kind of real tired.
Yeah.
I kind of wish everyone would stop being lazy pussies. So here's the thing. So here's the thing, that the normal people were the majority. We were the majority. Like normalcy, there was a time when like we actually owned everything. We remember we used to laugh at like the fat bearded bitch. Like that was a kind of a funny thing we would say, right? Like there's actually in movies and stuff like that. Okay. And then when we'd see something creep in that was weird, we didn't say anything. And we kept saying nothing. Then there's a black national anthem. We keep saying nothing. We keep just letting things go over and over and over again. Then we're surprised that there's a violent mob outside that now actually has some form of control, that now when we say something, we're scared to say anything even more. And so now what do? We shut up even more. And so they grow in numbers. Everyone is lazy pussies. Right now is your time to speak. You should be speaking nonstop. If you're afraid, that's exactly when you should be talking, because, by the way, it's going to get way worse if they have any form of power. So everyone stop being lazy pussies. That's what I'd say.
I would agree. And like I've been saying recently that I actually hate...
Phoenix is right.
I hate the people who are like, oh, I just want to grill and be left alone and don't want to focus on politics. It's like, well, if you just want to grill, you have to pay attention. You have to defend your right to just want to grill.
What's grilling?
Like, these people
like having a barbecue grill. Or like, is that a slang for something?
Like, no, it's a turn of phrase, right? Like people just want to be left alone. They just want to grill. They just want to play video games, whatever.
Oh,
whatever you do.
Gotcha.
Right. So they're just like, oh, I just want to grill. I want to be left alone. You know, you leave me alone. I leave you alone. We'll live in harmony. But it's like, as long as there's people that don't want to leave you alone and they want to fuck up your grill, right? They want to be like, oh, well, you can't use real meat. You're going to have to use the soy beef. You're going to have to use the 3D printed, whatever, microplastic lesbian meat, right? Like, they're not going to leave you alone.
Microplastic lesbian meat.
And so sticking your head in the ground and being like, I don't want to care about politics, I just want to grill, you're not going to be able to. They're not going to let you. You have to fight for your ability to continue doing that.
Thank you.
And I think though we are seeing a lot of that happening right now. And I think a lot of it has really kicked off. Like in the tech world, it really kicked off this summer. This last summer, all of a sudden, tech leaders started speaking out and resharing Lunduk Journal stuff, right? And they started really getting into it. And now there's not just 2 or 3 people in the tech space being the poop shield. Now there's 30 or 40 prominent names that are doing it, and we're getting legislation. Like not only do we have, more conservative control over things, we're seeing legislation like Protecting the Children Innocent Act. We have stuff on the other side of things about like the Granite Act and other things coming through, and we're actually seeing real movement. It's not just politicians out there right now on Twitter going
not New Year's night with Ninja.
Right. It's real. Like it's seeing real action. And I think so many of us have become so jaded and accustomed to nothing getting done, all the politicians sitting on their hands, playing lip service to the things we want to see, but not doing anything. No one else in media speaking out, that we just come to expect it. But that's changing right now. We're really seeing that ramp up. Like the Lunduk Journal's view numbers have more than doubled since just, I want to say August or something like that. I mean, it goes up several million every single month now. And that's not because I got any better. If anything, I'm probably lazier lately than I normally am. But it's because more people are getting tuned into all the issues. More people are comfortable sharing links out to stories where we're talking about the craziness of trans mafia type stuff. And people are feeling comfortable about it. For the first time in years, people are feeling comfortable pointing at those crazy issues and saying that's nuts, and that's encouraging to me.
Well, it's safe now.
Encouraging, and we shouldn't like delegitimize the strides we've made and the wins we've had. But I still agree with Phoenix. Like, more people need to speak out, especially as the tide is turning. Because if you don't, especially when more support is on the side of normalcy and sanity, then you're not doing yourself or anyone that you claim to care about any favors.
I don't know how you're protecting your kids by living in a world of fear. Like, that's only going to get worse. So sorry, be a fucking adult and get out there and fight, you fucking pussies.
Get a really good security system, get a bunch of cameras, get some firearms, right? Be able to defend yourself.
Yes.
Do you know that if you subscribe, you won't go bald? Just kidding. You actually probably will.